Hey everyone, it's Blake. Welcome in to episode number 4 of our WWE 2024 Save and TEW 2020. This is Raw for February, Week 1, the Royal Rumble Fallout, and the official start to our series. Here as the first 3 episodes, we were kind of just waiting for the Royal Rumble to see who were going to be the winners of all the matches, and that is where we will start this series. Like I said before, this will kind of be a clean slate for us here. You will see in certain parts of this, there are going to be some things on this edition of Raw that mirror exactly what you saw on Raw in reality. I had this thing booked and was going to try to get up before Raw on Monday, but the CM Punk injury changed everything. And so I had to change a lot of plans for WrestleMania. I had to basically shuffle things around for over half of the show. And so you're going to see some things that may just look copy and paste. But as you'll see moving forward, we're doing our own thing here. But we're just going to kind of use a little bit of a starting point with some of the things that you saw on Raw on Monday. So that is kind of our goal here. And again, we certainly have some creative challenges now with CM Punk injury, the Seth Rollins injury, everything that's kind of been thrown around here after the Royal Rumble. So yes, so we will get into this. This may be more of your sort of starting point, setting the foundation. Raw is what this is, where we will get to everything with Elimination Chamber, WrestleMania 40, and all that. So let's get this thing started. Video package. We look at the Royal Rumble highlights. We see Cody Rhodes winning back-to-back to join Steve Austin, Hulk Hogan, Shawn Michaels as the only men to ever do that in the Royal Rumble. And we also see him, throwing out CM Punk to get the victory. So CM Punk, we see kind of the visual again of Punk sitting down there looking up at Cody on the post there. So just kind of setting that visual. And it's also announced that we will see in our main event, yes, it's going to do exactly what you saw on Raw. The main event will be Drew McIntyre versus Sami Zayn. And they're going to go one-on-one after McIntyre eliminated Zayn at the Royal Rumble. So 92 for the opening segment here. And we now get to the start of the show. And who's the first person coming out? It's going to be your Royal Rumble winner, because here comes Cody Rhodes. And Cody makes his way out. And Cody says, I appreciate everyone's support and all of that, winning the Royal Rumble again. And he said, there's been one word on my mind, the one word on everybody's mind over the past year or more, and that's story. And more importantly, it's finishing the story. And he says, I'm just going to flat out say it. You guys saw me at the Royal Rumble. You saw exactly what I did right after I was victorious and threw CM Punk over the top rope. I pointed to that WrestleMania 40 sign, and I looked up, and I saw the man that I want to face at WrestleMania 40 again. And he says, so that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to SmackDown on Friday, and I'm going to step back into the ring with Roman Reigns for the first time in a while. And trust me, we will have something to talk about when I get there. So that's Cody's, remark here. He's made it clear. He's chosen Roman Reigns. He's going to SmackDown on Friday to make it official. Here comes Seth Rollins. And Rollins makes his way out. By the way, we get an 80 for the segment here. And Rollins says, Cody, we haven't always seen eye to eye, but I just want you to know, I congratulate you. It's not, it's not lost on me the company that you've joined by winning back-to-back Royal Rumbles. But he says, I also want, believe it or not, I want you to give Roman Reigns what he has coming to him, because somebody needs to do it. And he says, I also want you to finish your story. And that's why Seth says, so there's nothing more I would love than to see Roman get what he has coming to him. But then again, there's nothing else I would love more than to finally get my win over you, the one that's eluded me for years and years and years. And so Seth says, that's why I'm telling you right now, you're making the right move. Because if you're going to finish your story and you're going to face me at WrestleMania 40, if that would have been what you decided, I'm here to tell you, Cody, you would not have finished your story. So it's a smart decision, but I'm just also telling you that we will meet again in this ring. And I know you've beaten me time and time again, but you're not facing the old Seth Rollins. You're facing the guy who has carried this World Heavyweight Championship for months and months and months, and there will not be an injury or anything else that will prevent me from defending this championship at WrestleMania 40. And when we meet again, I'll still have the championship. Maybe you'll have a championship, and we'll see how things go from there. But I congratulate you on potentially finishing your story, because if you would have chosen me, that wouldn't have happened. So we kind of get Cody giving Rollins a little bit of a look here. Rollins giving Cody a look. Rollins extends his hand. We get a little bit of a handshake, and that's how we leave it with Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins. And 80 here for this segment. So we kind of flipped it a little bit. In reality, Rollins is saying he wants Cody to face him. In this one, we're saying Rollins is actually saying it's the right move for Cody if he wants to finish his story. Because if he faces Rollins, Rollins is going to finally get that win that he's needed over Cody. So 80 for the segment. Wow, look at this. Mr. 100 already stepping up here. 100, great. So we look to the back, and in the back, it is Kathy Kelly who walks up as she sees CM Punk, who is watching the screen. He is, apparently just watched this exchange between Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins. And Kathy, asks Punk about the rumors going around about this injury and all of that. And, Punk just says, I know, Kathy, trust me. I've seen everything out there. I will reveal the details later. I'm going to go out there and address the WWE Universe. I've just had a lot on my mind, but I will let them know what's going on a little bit later on. So Punk makes it clear he will be out to discuss the rumors going around, and we will see when that happens. But again, a 100 for the segment. It's CM Punk on a microphone. It is tremendous. So Kathy, we had to change her gimmick. It was poor as a staff member. Let's see if it gets any better. Oh, great, it does. So interviewer, we get great, so that's good. So at least she's going to get a large boost during matches for psychology. I don't think Kathy Kelly's going to be having many matches, but you never know. We could be leading to Kathy Kelly versus CM Punk. So here we go. All right. Our first match, Dominic Mysterio, one-on-one against Apollo Crews, and it's Dominic getting the win over Apollo with some shenanigans and a frog splash. 58 for this one. Dominic off his game, so that didn't help a little bit here. We see Rhea doing some good work at ringside. Dominic benefiting from being the flavor of the month. Not really about the match here, more about the post-match. Because afterwards, it is Dominic, celebrating a bit of a, shenanigans win here. And who do we see? None other than Mr. Braun Breaker. As Breaker starts walking down the ramp, and Breaker not even stopping. This guy is just, he's just doing a power walk here. Right to the ring. This gets a 70 for this one. And we see Braun Breaker hit the ring, and that means we see Dominic and JD McDonough step out of the ring. And so Breaker just comes into the ring. These two step out. And that's when we hear Braun Breaker yelling at Dominic that he's coming for him next week as Dominic and JD McDonough are kind of, scrambling back up the aisle here. Of course, this is all comes about after Dominic eliminated Braun Breaker at the Rumble. And then we saw Breaker just kind of, break JD McDonough in half essentially. So that is the setup here. Breaker says he's coming for Dominic next week as Dominic's kind of running away here on this one. So all business from Braun Breaker here as he shows up on Raw after the Rumble to go after the man who eliminated him. So 70 for the segment. All right, now we get a video package looking at the highlight of the Women's Rumble, and that is Jade Cargill, who is kind of front and center here. We see highlights of her Rumble debut, what she did to Nia, just kind of everything, looking at Jade and the highlights. And we also see the visual of Becky Lynch on the outside after Bayley's win. And we see Becky kind of looking up dejected, sort of in a similar way to CM Punk. And just, again, sort of looking up and wondering how perhaps she's going to get to WrestleMania at this point. So that's your setup there for that. 63 for this one. And that leads into a match for Becky Lynch as she's going to take on Xia Li, gets the win. And 8:22, the submission with the disarmor. Looks like Becky and Xia have pretty good chemistry, so that's good. Lifts up the match a little bit. 67, not too bad. But this is about Becky's path to WrestleMania. And so afterwards, here comes Kathy Kelly again. And you're going to see Kathy a lot here. Like I said, I've looked for Jackie Redmond. She's not, I think, in the database, or at least I don't have her signed to WWE. So probably got to get her here to have another interviewer. But Kathy Kelly's going to get front and center on this particular show. And also, we haven't changed up the announce teams. I know Pat McAfee joined on Monday, but we still have Michael Cole and Wade Barrett. Just some things, given all the changes, I just could not get to before this first episode, which these are minor details we can fix up later. But so Kathy comes in and asks Becky, Becky, you came up short at the Royal Rumble. You've talked about getting, to WrestleMania, getting back to winning the Women's Championship. And how are you going to do it now? And Becky just says, you're exactly right. The man came up short, but she says, I just have to find a new way. I have to find a new path to WrestleMania. And maybe that's going through the Elimination Chamber. Maybe that's going through something else. But she says, mark my words, I will find a way. So Becky maybe trying to call her shot here, saying that she will find a path to WrestleMania. We'll see what that is. 73 here for this one. All right, now we get into the next match. So the next match is our Tag Team Championship match, and I'm using the ones that were already previously announced. That is the Judgment Day against DIY, Johnny Gargano, Tommaso Ciampa. And so, as you guys have seen before in other saves I do, we kind of use this as sort of the angle for what's going on in the match, and we kind of play it up that way to kind of give you the finish. So here is where we are with this. So we get, Priest and Balor here defending their titles, DIY going on a little bit of a run. And here comes R-Truth. He's trying to get Damian Priest's attention over something, and we don't know what it is, but Truth is trying to get Damian Priest's attention. Priest just kind of pushing him off. He's like, Truth, I'm in the middle of a Tag Team Championship match here. Like, no, it can wait. It can wait till later. And so, Truth just continues to try to get Priest's attention until finally Priest goes over, and he's just telling Truth, like, go to the back. Get out of here. Get away. And meanwhile, while this is going on, like I said, DIY is on a bit of a run, and so they nearly get the pin on Finn Balor here. Johnny Gargano almost pins Finn Balor while all this is going on, but he sneaks out like 2 3/4. And so Truth finally, just kind of going through the crowd occupied with Truth as he's, shaking hands, eating popcorn, whatever you want to do with Truth here. But Priest makes his way back up, and finally, the Judgment Day able to turn the tide a little bit here. 68 for this segment. As they are going to get the win over Gargano and Ciampa here. Balor gets the victory over Gargano. So, submission, I always forget to do pinfall. I don't like the submission finish here, but we'll just do pinfall. We'll make it there. So they get their fourth defense of this of the Tag Team Championships. And remember, they do have both titles, even though for some reason I just don't think I selected the other one. But like I said, this was a show that was rewritten on the fly, so there are probably some small details that I just forgot to do. But a 73 is a pretty good match here, even with Gargano off his game. Balor, the best of the bunch from a rating standpoint. Chemistry notes or the usual stuff here from these two, not surprising. But Truth almost costs Judgment Day the tag titles, but he doesn't do it here. Priest and Balor get the win. All right, now Kathy Kelly, here she is again. And so now we look at this, and it's Kathy Kelly backstage, and here's Drew McIntyre. 76 for this one. As Kathy wants to know, what do you think about everything going on, Drew? You were not able to win the Royal Rumble. You talked about what all, you were going to try to do to get to WrestleMania, and basically everything was at stake for you, and you didn't get there. You didn't win the Rumble, and you were eliminated by CM Punk, and she just wants to know, so what's your plan now to try to make your way to WrestleMania? And that's when McIntyre says, listen here, Kathy, you can say everything you want to say, but all I know is this: CM Punk's injured because of me. I'm the one that injured him. And then he said to go to Cody Rhodes. I agree with Seth Rollins, believe it or not. I think Cody Rhodes is making the right decision by going to SmackDown to face Roman Reigns, because here's why. Because Cody knows that this isn't about Seth Rollins. It's not about facing Seth Rollins. This is about Drew McIntyre. Cody Rhodes isn't trying to avoid Seth Rollins. Cody Rhodes is trying to avoid Drew McIntyre, because Cody knows that I'm going to be the one that's holding the World Heavyweight Championship after WrestleMania 40, and maybe even before, depending on when Seth Rollins decides he wants to step back into the ring and stop faking his injury over there. Or maybe it won't be such a fake injury anymore, Seth, when I get done with you. So that's the reason that Cody Rhodes is making the right decision, because he wasn't scared of Seth Rollins. He was scared of me. And so he thinks by going over to SmackDown, he gets to avoid the inevitable. And the inevitable is that I will be the next World Heavyweight Champion, and I will do it however I have to do it to get that opportunity. So Drew McIntyre kind of leaning in here, again, pointing out that he threw out, or CM Punk eliminated him, but this is about Cody Rhodes and how Cody is the one who essentially is making the decision to pick Roman Reigns because he doesn't want to face Drew McIntyre at any point. So Drew playing that up here, 76, and Kathy then, just asked him, So what do you think about the main event against Sami Zayn? And Drew McIntyre's like, I don't care anything about it. I've got bigger goals. I'll beat Sami again just like I've done every single time we've stepped into the ring. So Drew's just kind of dismissal here. It's a bit of a dismissal of Sami Zayn. So we'll see what happens in the main event. All right, now we get to this match. Bronson Reed versus Chad Gable. Reed gets the win over Gable, 14-37. The Death Drop Driver, 68 for this one. Decent match, not great. Bronson Reed off his game. I thought this would do a little bit better, but, again, Reed off his game. So this could have hit the 70 mark, just didn't get there. But nonetheless, it is Reed getting the victory. We'll see what that means for him moving forward. All right, and here comes CM Punk. Punk makes his way to the ring, 94 for the segment. And Punk says, yes, I know you've wanted to hear from me, and the rumors are true. I do have a triceps injury. And he said, and I'll be honest with you, I don't know what my future holds. I know this, though, that I will not get to main event WrestleMania yet again. The spot that I've deserved, and you guys have always thought that I've deserved that opportunity. I didn't get that opportunity a decade ago. I thought this was going to be it. I put everything into making sure that this was the year that I would get to challenge for the world title in the main event of WrestleMania. But it looks like it's just not going to be that way. And he says, so I just want to congratulate Cody Rhodes for getting an opportunity of a lifetime. An opportunity that just is not always there. But Cody has somehow found a way last year, this year, to get that chance that I have not gotten. I've not had that opportunity. And it looks like with his injury, I'm not going to get the chance again, but I do want to congratulate Cody. He's earned it, and perhaps he will finally get a chance to finish his story, and maybe, just maybe one day, CM Punk will get to finish his story too. But unfortunately, everyone, it's not going to be this year, and I'm not sure what my future holds in WWE. So Punk, a little bit, hey, it's a bit of a down promo here from CM Punk. He's definitely just deflated after this, and Punk just sort of, drops the mic, and he heads out here. So clearly a very frustrated CM Punk as, basically saying, hey, I'm not going to get what, the fans think I deserve, what I think I deserve, and that is that shot at the world title in the WrestleMania main event. So 94 for the segment, clearly a dejected Punk here after this injury. All right, now we get Kathy Kelly back again because I just could not find a lot of interviewers right now in this save. But Kathy's with Sami Zayn, 84 for this one. And Kathy, asked Sami Zayn about the elimination from Drew McIntyre, the main event here tonight. And Zayn just says it seems to be a common theme here, on Raw, in that people who just are trying to find ways to sort of beat their kryptonite. I know I heard, Seth talking about Cody and all this other stuff. Well, Drew McIntyre seems to be mine. I just can't find a way to beat Drew McIntyre. And Sami just says, I have to find a way to beat Drew because everything Drew said earlier, trust me, I heard it. He said, I know Drew wants that spot to compete for the world title at WrestleMania, but there's someone else who wants that spot too, and that's me. He says that I'm the person who should be getting an opportunity, and I'm going to do everything I can to fight to deserve that opportunity. And he said, so the way I see it, Drew and I are in the same spot. Neither of us won the Royal Rumble, and both of us have to figure out if we're going to get our shot at the world title, it may just have to go through each other. So Sami just kind of, again, pointing out that him and Drew are sort of in the same spot here and that a win could mean huge things potentially for a world championship spot at WrestleMania 40, maybe against Seth Rollins. So we'll find out, but that's your setup here for the main event, 84 for this one. But before we get there, we got another big match to get to. That's Gunther getting the win over Kofi Kingston. Gunther gets, 81 match. No surprise here with Gunther. I mean, he's fantastic. But he does get the win over Kofi, 1752 with a powerbomb. So that's defense number 20 now of the Intercontinental Championship. Gunther, 20 successful title defenses now for him. So he gets the victory. The post-match, maybe you've seen this before. Yes, this is one of the things, as I said, that will sort of mirror what you saw on Raw. After the match, we see Imperium. Here, mainly Kaiser and Vinci are the ones who sort of jump Kofi Kingston. That leads to Xavier Woods getting involved. And, Gunther's just kind of calling the shots here. So essentially, like I said, this one, you can sort of maybe copy and paste a little bit from what you saw on Raw in reality. Because we have some plans moving forward for this, and we're going to kind of keep that in place with this one. So it is Gunther getting the win over Kofi, and then it's Imperium getting the upper hand by jumping the New Day afterwards. So 58 here for this. And let me just tell you, because it's got a 58, we are in no way going to hit a lot of our storyline thresholds we need to hit. So we're going to get a penalty for this rating for the show. It's not going to be great, but as always, this show it may not do well from a rating standpoint. All right, we got more promos to get to. Boy, these 3-hour Raws, I tell you, there's a lot to get put in, but after the Royal Rumble, it kind of makes sense because there's a lot to get to. So here comes Bayley, the winner of the Women's Royal Rumble. She's here, 71 for this segment, and Bayley just says, I told everyone that I would win the Royal Rumble, and she wants Rhea Ripley to come out the Raw Women's Champion so that she can officially announce her intention for WrestleMania 40. So Bayley, just kind of playing this up here that she wants Ripley to come out to essentially make this thing official. And what happens? Well, again, you've probably seen this before too, because this makes a lot of sense. Here comes Nia Jax, and as Rhea Ripley makes her way out to kind of come down to the ring to perhaps get the face-to-face with Bayley, here comes Nia Jax, who attacks Rhea Ripley from behind, and then Nia just takes Rhea, and she's throwing her all over the aisle here. But then Nia takes Rhea and just throws her into the LED stage, and does it multiple times where officials officially, kind of have to come out and sort of protect Rhea Ripley here from Nia Jax. And then we see Nia sort of turn on the stage, and Bayley is still standing in the middle of the ring, and Nia just gives a huge glare to Bayley as she's standing in the middle. And that's how we wrap up this segment. So Bayley doesn't get to make her intention official to face Rhea Ripley, but she does get a stare down from Nia Jax, who just completely destroyed Rhea Ripley on the stage. So what will happen next? Perhaps we have to wait another week to get that official announcement from Bayley on her WrestleMania plan. So 63 here for this one. It's a women's tag team match. Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark, they're going to get the win over Chelsea Green and Piper Niven, 6:45, as Baszler forces Chelsea Green to submit with the armbar. So 47 here for this one. Not a great match, but I mean, it is what it is. So this is just one to kind of play up Baszler and Stark's sort of continued winning streak. This somewhat rivals what you see or what you saw on Raw, I guess. Who did Baszler and Stark face? They face Italian Tegan Nox, maybe. So instead, they beat the former champs here, Chelsea Green and Piper Niven, instead. So they get the win over former champs, just building up some more momentum for this team of Baszler and Stark. So, all right, now we get an announcement that next week we will have in action. Jey Uso will return, and he'll be in action next week. So will The Miz. So, and more. So that's kind of, two of the things that we'll have on the show next week on Raw. Jey Uso and The Miz, and a lot more set up. So we're just kind of announcing them here because you've seen either been on the show, but they will have a presence on the show next week. 69 rating, nice for that one. All right, now that's going to lead us into our main event. Drew McIntyre versus Sami Zayn. Can Sami Zayn finally get that win over Drew McIntyre? Can he finally do it and perhaps take a big jump up and get an opportunity maybe to challenge for the world title at WrestleMania 40? Well, he's going to have to figure out another way because Drew McIntyre gets the win over Sami Zayn here, 14:44, 76 for the match. Thought this would do a little bit better, but, a burned-out crowd. So there you go. That's not surprising to me because you remember in the WWE 2021 save, I changed Raw to 2 hours. This one's 3 hours, and so, yeah, we're definitely burning out the crowd here on this. I'm curious how you guys get around that. I've never had to think about it because I changed Raw to 2 hours on the WWE 2021 save, and any other series I booked, we've never had a 3-hour Raw like this because that's what I usually do when I book WWE is I just move it down. But I left it at 3 here, so I don't know. Maybe we just move it back to 2 or whatever. I'm open to options here because, yeah, there's a lot when you have to get to that 3-hour threshold on this Raw. So, nonetheless, Drew McIntyre gets the win. With the important part here, Drew does it with a little handful of tights, and we're also going to add in the fact that Drew does it after a little bit of a kick to the lower midsection of Sami Zayn. So Drew just kind of pulling out some just real heel-like tendencies here, as we know from this current iteration of Drew McIntyre. So McIntyre gets the win. He said he'd do it however he had to do it, and he gets the win over Zayn here to keep Zayn winless over Drew McIntyre. So that's the story we're playing up in this one, 76 for that. And we're not done, though. Like I said, this wasn't going to mirror reality Raw exactly. Afterwards, we get another 100 because we go back and we see the camera following Cody Rhodes here. As Cody said he was going to SmackDown, and this is like he's ready to go get on the tour bus and head to SmackDown. Like this is the Lex Express here with Cody heading out to the bus. So we see him about to walk out of the arena, and as he's doing that, we see Punk kind of walking in, kind of from the same direction as Cody Rhodes is about to walk out. And that is when we kind of get the, face-to-face again between these two, the final two Royal Rumble winners, the final two in the Royal Rumble. And so we get kind of these two go face-to-face. Punk extends the hand. Cody shakes the hand, and Punk just says, really, Cody, I want to congratulate you. And he said, but I'll keep this thing going like you heard from Seth earlier. We will meet again. We will meet again. And so Punk just kind of shakes his hand and walks off, and Cody exits through the door. Like I said, Punk was coming from that direction. Cody exits through the door, heads to the parking lot. This is like, you guys go way back, like the Lex Express, getting on the bus, ready for the huge showdown. To head to SmackDown, to face off, and sort of have the face-to-face with Roman Reigns. So Cody's walking towards his vehicle. Don't worry, this isn't NXT. He's not going to get jumped. But we see Cody walking towards his car, and then we sort of see in a distance, we see the window roll down from another vehicle, and there is a limo, and whose face do we see in this sort of window that has been rolled down as Cody enters his car and drives away? Someone watching him in a limo, and the window rolls down, and it is Paul Heyman intently staring at Cody Rhodes driving away. So an 80 for this, so not as good as the previous segment, but that's okay. We're playing up a story here. What is Paul Heyman doing sitting in the parking lot in this limo? Is anyone else in there with him? What's he doing at Raw? Cody's driving away to SmackDown. Heyman has his eyes on Cody Rhodes as he makes his way for this much-anticipated face-off with Roman Reigns on SmackDown. So an 80 for the segment. We finished the show. 78, I knew we'd get the penalty for WWE. Does not have enough interesting storylines going on. So as always, we're going to kind of just scrap the rating here. 78. We'll do much better shows than this. We had a lot of great segments here, but we also had a lot of segments. And again, that's the challenges of the 3-hour Raw. And so I'm thinking about, some ideas for that, but we do have to get a lot in because these are two really loaded brands from a numbers standpoint. So we hit on a lot of the stuff, a lot of angles, a lot of, I think we had quite a few matches, but not a lot. So yeah, we had to hit a lot of stuff after the Royal Rumble. That was the bigger point, was that we just had a lot to get to. And so, yeah. So there you go. That's how we finish up this edition. We've got some fun stories coming out of it. I know we didn't talk a lot about Elimination Chamber, but I think, we kind of saw that in reality too. Just some of the stuff shuffling with Punk. I just couldn't get to a lot of Elimination Chamber stuff yet. So next week will be an Elimination Chamber heavy show in terms of the setup and the card and all that for the Raw side. So there you go. That was Raw, and let's see what we get to before we wrap up. All right, so that was Raw. A positive show. Wasn't our best one. As always, we're going to start things off where we're going to get all kind of, I even checked the email, but I guarantee you there are going to be people that are unhappy, like sponsors or not sponsors or networks. I don't even remember what the thing is, but the first show just never reaches the standard that, the rest of the shows will. You got to get a little feedback on show one, what we need to change a little bit. But what I do know is Naito's barely turning heel. So that's a bold move for New Japan. They're refreshing their brands. They've got a full draft. So New Japan goes full draft here. Hostility towards TJPW. We said Raw. Well, there's a lot of stable moves going on here. So I don't know that we'll get to all of these, but a lot of people changing stables for sure. So, all right. So like we said, Raw did a pretty good job. Main event. I'll give you guys the results of main event at some point, but it was not a good show. I think I did part auto book on that. Main event's one where I really got to think about that too, because in the reshuffling of this, main event was just an afterthought, and I just put a bunch of random pairings together and didn't really have a whole lot to it. So we'll think about that moving forward. But all right, so we got some goals from Ari Emanuel that we will look at, and I mean, look, we can look at them, but okay, WWE must not have fallen below number 1 in the company rankings. Well, that's not going to happen. Cannot hire anybody who works for a company of medium size or above. Okay, well, that's interesting. Cody Rhodes must be kept above 71. Well, there's probably not going to be a problem there. No MMA crossover style, no technician flyer. Okay, well, some of those are not going to be a problem. But we'll see. We may need to work around one of those. And you probably know which one it is. Anyways, we'll think about the goals and what that means. But, all right, drug test fees. Raw did 2.96. I think Raw would gladly take a 2.96 right now, so that's pretty good. Sony 10-1 unhappy. The minimum production quality requirements. Again, these are things that I just have not looked at before we started the save. Oh, so Drew's already a grueling schedule. Drew needs to take some time off. Well, great. He had one main event, 15-minute match, but Drew's been working overtime here, apparently. So Drew needs to take some time off. We'll keep that there to note that moving forward. Steve Carino thinks Maxine Dupree is a natural talker. Give her some promo time. All right. Well, Jason Jordan thinks Julius Creed's going to be a star. Julius Creed was in action on main event. Drug test feeds, we say, who else needs time to heal? Apollo Crews. All right. Well, Apollo's had one match against Dominic. It was 8 minutes long. I don't know if I agree with that, Apollo, but he clearly needs some time off. So Drew McIntyre, Apollo Crews, we got to think about that for now. But there you go, guys. That was Raw. Like I said, this will not be our best show, but it is going to set in motion a lot of stories for the future. And like I mentioned, this was sort of the foundation, starting things off here. And yeah, a lot of reshuffling. Admittedly, there was a lot of reshuffling after the Punk injury. So we'll see where it goes, but I've given you some teasers for SmackDown, and yes, it will be a must-see edition of SmackDown with Cody heading there. We don't know what Paul Heyman was doing in the parking lot in the limo. A lot of things we have to figure out on the road to WrestleMania 40. But again, I appreciate you guys always. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Let me know your thoughts on Raw. And yeah, anything else, check out all the other stuff on the channel. Again, we got the TCW series. If you want to look into the C-Verse, you can do that with that save. You can go through our Exploring the C-Verse series where we look at all the starting companies. If you want to go back and watch the WWE 2021 save, we got over 100 episodes there. It's a fun story. If you want to go back through and watch that, you can do that. And some more stuff to come here on the channel. But again, I appreciate you guys always for watching. And on the next episode of our WWE 2024 save, it will be a must-see edition of SmackDown for February Week 1.